We also do, as we get started here, I'm just going to point out that you do have a chat feature here as well. So if you're going to make a comment, you have a question, maybe you don't feel comfortable speaking on the audio part, or you don't feel comfortable being on camera, that's perfectly fine as well. So feel free to use the chat feature if you want to type in questions or comments. We'll kind of keep our eyes out for those as well. But by all means, we love hearing your voices. So if you do have a question and you're comfortable coming off of mute, by all means, jump in and speak with us. So we are going to get started and just welcome who we have here with us tonight. We want to appreciate the fact that you've taken some time to be with us. As you can see up here on the screen here, on down on that bottom right-hand side there, I'm Michael Lopez Patton. I'm the Associate Vice President of Admissions here at Pacific Oaks College. I do recognize some faces on here, so it's always good to see some of our repeat attendees, so to speak. We get to know you really well. And that's really nice for us because you haven't even started school yet for most of you. We're already starting to get to know you. And I want you to know that that doesn't change once you start school. So hopefully by coming to some of these different events and starting to be recognized, you start to see that we see you, we know you. There is no one at our school that is just a number. And we want to be able to support you and recognize your needs as well. And speaking of supporting you, it's a big question right now. This virtual world that we're living in right now, and COVID-19, and not being able to necessarily be at our physical campuses during the spring semester. So that's why we've called this town hall, is to be able to show you how class will work for you for your first semester in a virtual environment. What we want to assure you is that being in a virtual environment does not mean that you all of a sudden are just 100% online. What we're going to be able to show you, and each of our schools here, we've got some faculty, we have some deans, each is going to show you how each school then interacts with you as a student, how some of our classrooms take place during this virtual time with us. The key is that we want you to get away from this is that school still goes on, life goes on. Your education doesn't have to be stopped because of COVID-19 or anything else. There is a way to do it. There's a way for you to do it here at Pacific Oaks. There's a way to get face-to-face interactions and talk in real time with your faculty and your instructors and your staff. And so we're going to show that to you this evening. And again, talk with us, ask questions, make comments, because this also is a good way for you to see what it would be like if you were sitting in a classroom right now with us. How would you be able to interact and ask your questions? So this is a good test run for some of you as well. Well, I'm going to turn the time over to each of the individuals that you see up here on the screen so that we can each introduce ourselves, let you know what we do here at Pacific Oaks College, and then we're going to get to the point of this town hall. So again, welcome everybody. I'm going to start up at the top right-hand side of your screen that you see there, and that's our college president, Dr. Jack Pedunton, who is here with us tonight. Dr. Pedunton. Oh, we've got that mute.
This is the first time I got it today because I thought I was going to go one day without somebody say that to me. Well, thank you so much, Michael. And once again, welcome everyone. It's so good to see some of you back. I remember I talked to Abraham before. I talked to a few of us before in the past open house or information session. And it's good to see that you may be getting closer to start school with us. This is a very, as Michael mentioned, you know, the pandemic is going, but I'm so glad that you do not delay your decision to prepare for your next steps in life. And that's determination is so critical. We always want you to have a very strong start and a very strong finish. And it looks like at 6 o'clock on Thursday, you are coming in with that energy. I oftentimes would tell the student that every time when I come to a session like this, I feel like I am at the start of the marathons, that everyone is getting ready to just launch once somebody giving you the cue to launch. But at the same time, marathon is a marathon, right? It's a long time. It's not a sprint, it's a longer distance. But what I am happy to say is that everyone in this room, everyone you can see on the screen, your faculty, your dean, your Vice President of Academic Affairs, everyone in this room is here to make your marathon much more fun, because at some point in your marathon, you might want to stop, and this is going to be the one to help carry you to the finish line. And I wanted to be that person too. Actually, I need to go with you through your journey, and let's see each other at the finish line. So welcome to Pacific Oaks.
Thank you, Dr. Bedunton. Welcome. We always love having our college president here with us. But tonight in a town hall, this is even more special because we have a lot of our college leadership here with us. So just to go in order, I think we'll go left to right, top to bottom. So we started with Dr. Bedunton, so we can move over to Dr. Cook. And if you could introduce yourself, and then we'll just kind of go in order from there.
Greetings, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for spending your time with us. Bree Cook, Vice President of Academic Affairs, and I'm also the Accreditation Liaison Officer for the college. So I help make sure and ensure that we are communicating with our regional accreditor and our program accreditors, and that we stay accredited, which we always do because we're Pacific Oaks and we're great at it. But I'm here tonight, just here to talk to you guys about and support the deans and the faculty and all of you guys, and understanding how we are moving into and have been actually serving our students that would normally be on campus and on ground with us, how we're serving them in the virtual environment. So I look forward to the presentations and any questions you may have. Thanks.
And I think Dr. Bankier, that's you.
That's me. So I'm the dean up at the San Jose branch campus, and we became a branch it's coming up on 5 years ago. We've been running programs off campus in the northern part of California since the early 80s, actually. And so then a few years ago, we sought our accreditation, and we're considered a branch campus. So we're a small microcosm of what goes on in Pasadena, but all the services that are available to all of our students online in Pasadena, in San Jose, in our cohorts at our instructional sites, they're all the same. And we maintain who we are and what we're here for, and we're here for you and your success. So welcome, we're glad you're here tonight. Our classes run a little bit different schedule-wise. We mainly run weekends. So a working adult comes to class about 3 times over the 15-week semester, 3 weekends. And so there's lots of opportunity for interaction online in the intervening weeks. And then when we convene, we have a lot of fun, and we even do it on Zoom. So you'll see the Zoom parties being held throughout the weekends with our San Jose students as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have someone special here representing our School of Cultural and Family Psychology this evening. So we have an amazing member of our faculty, Dr. Hall.
Hey, thank you for that intro, Michael. Hey, I feel special, you know. Well, listen, welcome. I am so excited to see all of you here today. It's, what is it, Thursday evening at 6 o'clock? I'm talking about commitment. You see, that's commitment on your part. You're coming to find out information that's going to help you improve the quality of your life through education. And we're here to help you do that, right? So I'm Angel Hall. As Michael said, I am a core faculty member in the School of Cultural and Family Psychology. I am also the coordinator of the African American Family Studies specialization, one of the only program of its kind in the nation. Michael, I had to plug it. I'm sorry, but you know I was going to do it. All right, go AFS. But we have fantastic programs in the School of Cultural and Family Psychology, and I look forward to talking to you guys more about it. Maybe not in this particular meeting, but in the future, I want to talk to you guys about the wonderful programs that we have. And so you'll hear how we are sort of doing this virtual learning thing during COVID. You'll learn how we do that in the School of Cultural and Family Psychology. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Now we have a number of you, I'm sure, that are here for our School of Education. So we've got our interim dean, Dr. Jarrell here for you.
Hi, Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see everyone's face. It's hard to follow my colleague, Dr. Hall, with all the energy for the AFS program, which is fantastic. But what I can say is one of the great things about community, it enables us to welcome people and help them in ways we couldn't as individuals. So I'm looking forward to getting to know you all and to meet you and hopefully inspire you to become educators. As you know, in this climate, we definitely need a few good educators to help and support the social emotional well-being of our students, as well as help them get to college at some point one day. So nice to see everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. And we have one more school, our School of Human Development, and we have our Dean from the School of Human Development, Dr. Terry Webster.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everybody. And I know it's the end of a very long day for all of you, so I really do appreciate you coming to hear about how we're supporting students in the virtual environment. I oversee curriculum and instruction for the bachelor's and master's human development programs in Pasadena, also at our instructional sites online and in partnership with Dr. Bank here for San Jose. So more to come during the presentation, but welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Webster. Now we have other faculty here, so I just want to point out that as we get into our individual school presentations, we have incredible individuals that are just taking time out of their evening to be with us as well. And they will be able to answer maybe perhaps some individual questions about specific degree programs as well. But one of the other individuals that are here with us now that you see up on the screen is someone that represents a key piece of your life as a student. The academic advising side and the people that will work with you outside of the classroom. So Mary, if you could introduce yourself for us.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Pacific Oaks Town Hall meeting this evening. My name is Mary Barbarian. I'm the senior advisor for the academic advising team. And I do want to emphasize that we are a team and each one of us represents a school. So depending on how you're enrolled and where you'll be attending within Pacific Oaks, you'll be assigned an academic advisor. And our role primarily is to support you to ensure that you take the correct number of courses to fulfill your unit requirement, to fulfill your degree requirement. Our job is to support you all along the way. You and I will have the best relationship. Trust me, we'll get to know one another. We'll get to know each other's kids' names, spouses' names, what's your favorite hobby, all of that along the way. So welcome to Pacific Oaks. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Mary. Now, there is one individual that is not up on the screen that I do want to give an opportunity to introduce herself. Now, we've mentioned maybe in previous times you might have been with us, we are designated as a Hispanic serving institution. Now, we welcome all students. We are a very diverse faculty and staff, as you can see here, as well as our student body. But we are designated as a Hispanic serving institution. And actually, more than half of our students have self-identified as Latino or Latina. And I want to give an opportunity to Dr. Judy Castro to introduce herself as well.
Thank you, Michael, and good evening, all of you. Definitely resonate that it's a little bit late in the day, and we are excited to have you here. I am the AVP of Partnership and Development. I am also responsible for the implementation of the Hispanic Serving Institution, HSI grant that we received from the Department of Education. It was a $2.5 million grant to support our undergraduate Latinx and underserved students to ensure that their journey at Pacific Oak is one that they will actually enjoy and have a good time with it. You know, it's an experience that you're going to be having on a day-to-day, the interactions that you're going to have. So we want to make sure that you are provided with the right resources. Mary just talked about the academic advisors. Through the grant, we are also going to be able to provide you with a dedicated bilingual staff to support you as well. If you do need to talk to us in your native language, Spanish, we will have a lending library to provide you with computer equipment, just in case when you are getting ready to get started, it breaks, it stops functioning. You'll be able to call us and we'll be able to provide you one, as well as books. So there are many more other services that we can provide and to complement and to support you have an excellent journey while Pacific Oaks. So welcome. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Dr. Castro. It's one of the things I love about Pacific Oaks. Like I said, we're a very diverse community. We say we are better because of our diversity. And in this case, being a Hispanic serving institution benefits all students because that HSI grant and the services provided through it are something that can benefit any student who is in need. So it is something for any student to be thankful for and proud to be a member of the PO community because we're able to offer that to them. So we're going to get into, just to cover very quickly for everybody, what are we going to cover this evening? And then we are going to jump right into it. So very quickly, we want to talk about what is a virtual classroom. We're using that V word a lot, virtual. So we're going to just talk a little bit about what that means and how that works for you as a student in place of going to class at our campus, what that looks like for you. We're going to talk about Canvas. It's nothing to be intimidated by. Canvas is just how you turn in your homework assignments and how you get different pieces of information that you need in your class. We're going to show you what that looks like for you. We're going to also definitely show you how you can access the support that you might need from home. If you're not able to get into the campus right now to be able to go to the library or the learning center, how do you get that help? So we're going to show you how you can do that virtually and how that's available to you. We're going to talk about, when everybody fingers crossed and we get to exhale for a minute, what it looks like to transition back to the campus, or for any of you here, maybe to go to the campus for the first time, what that's going to be like for you. And then definitely an open Q&A session. We have, again, like I said, the individuals you've already met, plus some of our amazing other faculty that are here to be able to answer some questions. But I will say, don't hold your questions to the end. If you have questions in the meantime, feel free to chime in. Feel free to type them into the chat feature. We want to have an open dialogue with you. So with that said, we're just going to talk about what is a virtual classroom. The biggest thing for us here to talk about what a virtual classroom is essentially gives you the opportunity to attend class, not delay your education while still being safer at home. Safer at home is that kind of phrase that we've gotten used to here in California, at least. Other states say quarantine. We just like to say we're safer at home here in California. But that also means safe going to class because you can be a student, you can be in class, but you can be safe in your home while you're doing that. This can be done in a lot of different platforms. Now, right now we're on what we call Zoom. There are other platforms out there. Primarily in our classes, you probably will be experiencing Zoom. So when you go to class as a student at PO in a virtual environment, you'll be doing something just like you did today. You'll be clicking on a link, coming in, turning on your camera, and looking around the room like the Brady Bunch opening and seeing all of your classmates all around you and your teachers and your instructors. So this really is that virtual environment that you'll see. And if you're comfortable being here right now, it should show you should be very comfortable being in that environment in a virtual classroom as well. So we were very quick to transfer to the virtual environment. It's one of the things that we really pride ourselves in at PO is our responsiveness to the needs of our community. Some of the other schools around us had to close down for months on end and prepare and figure out what to do. I'd say we probably did it in about a week and a half at Pacific Oaks. Just like everybody else, we got the news in March that we needed to go home, and about a week and a half later, we were up and running and we were holding our classrooms, and our students didn't have to take time off and delay their graduation because of it. That's really important to us, is that you don't have to take time away from your education. We're here to support you and make you just worry about being a student with us. And that's what we're here to do for you and support you with that. Now, when we want to talk about how does the virtual classroom fit in with our learning model and our pedagogy, we talk about our pedagogy a lot at Pacific Oaks. Pedagogy really is just how do you teach and how do you learn in our classrooms. Pedagogy is just the word that kind of just describes how you teach and how you learn and how you interact. And at PO, we're very interpersonal. So being face-to-face is a big piece of how we teach and we learn and we grow at Pacific Oaks. Well, the virtual environment fits perfectly into that because it gives you the opportunity to still be face-to-face, to still be able to talk and engage in real time and converse and have dialogue with one another while still being at home and being safe in a time when that's really important for each of us individually and for our families. So the virtual classroom fits in with everybody. When you see up on the screen there, those two images, I put those there very importantly because that top image is an actual photo taken in one of our actual classrooms at our Pasadena campus. You can see individuals sitting around the room. We sit around the room like that in a circle kind of an environment because we think it's important to see each other's face when you're in class. It's not a lecture. You should be able to know everybody in the room with you. And then right below that, you see some funny faces on there. Some of them might be familiar to who's even here with us this evening. But the key there is you can still see everyone's face. You still see everybody, you still interact with them. So whether you're sitting in a classroom in a circle or you're in this type of an environment here, you're still you, we're still us, and we're able to interact in the same manner that we would. That's really important, and it fits in perfectly with what we do here at Pacific Oaks College. Now, we talk about as a college, how we interact with you. You're going to hear a little bit later from Mary about how we support you outside of the classroom. But we're going to turn the time over now to some of those individuals that you just met to talk about how we do that individually in your specific schools. So in your particular degree program, you're a member of a particular school, the School of Cultural Family Psychology or the School of Education or the School of Human Development. So we're going to turn it over to them right now, the real experts, to be able to talk with you individually about how that school works with you in an individual virtual environment. And first up, if I can make sure the screen changes for us. First up is our School of Education with Dr. Hill.
It's hard to follow that. Thank you, Michael. It's a great opening for us. So when you look at the School of Education and what we do with the face-to-face experience, in a remote learning environment, you can't recreate the classroom. So what we want to do is leverage your assets in a remote environment to really have a way to connect your identities with your home environment, with your community. So we're able to offer Zoom. We're not using GoToMeeting as much anymore, but we offer Zoom. There's definitely phone calls and emails that you can communicate out with your instructors and staff and faculty, because I know it's difficult to manage some of the challenges with the online environment because there are cases where the internet is unpredictable and things crash, but we don't want that to impact your grading. So I've really worked with our adjunct faculty to take a deeper look at being purposeful around grading. We want to make sure with deeper learning that we emphasize your demonstrated learning as opposed to seat time, because if you get kicked off of a meeting, that really shouldn't penalize your grade. And we have to be mindful of the pandemic. I think first and foremost, your social emotional well-being is at the center of what we do. That's definitely one of the values, but it shouldn't compromise the rigor of the program because you still can demonstrate that learning. When we look at some of the hybrid models that we have in the SOE, our students who are 100% online, it is hybrid in the sense of we have what we see here on the slide is our course buddies, where you're actually, instructors will work together to increase that engagement, which is really important when you're in a remote environment. In fact, what we've learned is that some of the conversations are a lot richer online than in person because you really get to know people, it seems like, more because you're looking for that engagement or that difficult conversation to have. I think the other piece that we want to offer is asynchronous versus synchronous, because there's some flexible accessibility that we have within the program. Some students learn better when the instructor is there during a presentation so that they can ask questions. We invite students to record those sessions, so if they forget something, they can go back to it. You know, when you're in a synchronous model, that sometimes you're trying to take notes and you might forget, but if you record it, you can actually go back to it. Some students learn differently where they want that asynchronous, I can learn at my own pace. So being able to have that flexibility is important. What I can share with some of our students in the clinical practice and field work, if you're preparing to be an educator in an early childhood setting or a K-12 classroom, your observations are handled remotely, because obviously schools aren't open for the most part here in California, but you're still able to conduct your field work and clinical practice experiences through working with teachers in schools and having your observations. But in fact, there's multiple means of collecting feedback. So during those clinical practice experiences, you're able to get your feedback in real time. Just because you're online, they can actually send you a chat right away and you're able to have that collaborative response in real time. When we look at our practicum coursework with the ECE, it's kind of in that same vein where you're conducting most of your observations online or through videos just to see teaching and learning in real time, and then you're able to collect data and really focus on your reflections, because we are a pretty intensive program when it comes to writing, because I think writing helps you develop those creative energies to really learn how to express yourself. So you'll see that a lot within the coursework. You want to go on to the next slide. Here, here's a quote from one of our adjunct faculty. And what he did here was he looked at kind of a core reflection first. What can I do to help my students in this environment? And you're seeing that play out here in this quote, where he's making sure students aren't worried about missing assignments or they may need some additional support. He's willing to go above and beyond to provide that support. One thing I want to add about Professor Bravo is with the math methodology course, this is tied into one of the CSET exams that you have to take to get your credentials. So the math methodologies course is really, really important. So for him to go above and beyond is really critical for the students. Henry Adams has a quote I like a lot. He says, "A teacher affects eternity. He never can tell where his influence stops." So that's really important because it will stretch beyond just your one class or two classes here at Pacific Oaks. As you go on, we hope our alumni, we do welcome them to come back. So again, that influence continues well beyond your time here at Pacific Oaks. Thank you. Is there any, I guess we can go to the next slide unless there's questions. I didn't see anything pop up in the chat yet.
Don't see any yet. Maybe we'll have some more as we go for School of Ed. So we're going to move into our next school, which is our School of Cultural and Family Psychology. For those of you who don't know, that would mean if you are looking at our community psychology degree program or a marriage and family therapy, we might even have some that are looking at social work here with us this evening. That all falls under our School of Cultural and Family Psychology. And we have, as you know, Dr. Hall with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Hill. Thank you, Michael. And so in the School of Cultural and Family Psychology, we consider ourselves a family, right, of the bigger community. And we do offer support even in the virtual environment. So what you will see as a student in the CFP, you'll have support coming from the dean, who is Dr. Rebecca Rojas. And she's unable to join us today, but she's here with us still. But she is extremely supportive. If you have any questions or concerns, she is definitely available. We have our program manager, who is David Pastore, and he is fantastic at what he does. You have questions about anything, he's willing to help. And we also have a faculty advisor. So our core faculty members, we advise our students. So if you come into the School of Culture and Family Psychology, you will have a full-time faculty member as your advisor. And our role as your advisor is to basically provide additional support to you as a student in the program. And we also serve as support in terms of helping you get through the entire process. We know that coming to school is a major undertaking, especially if you are coming back after some years. We understand that the program is very vigorous, and we're here to help you get through that process. We also have program coordinators within the program. And so within the School of Cultural and Family Psychology, we have the African American Family Studies specialization. As I mentioned before, I'm the coordinator of that program. And my job in that role is to make sure that the program is running and make sure that the students get the classes that they need that are in the program. We also have the Latinx program, and Dr. Eugenia Rodriguez is on. Dr. Rodriguez, are you here? She's on, yes? Okay, wonderful. So as a coordinator, she is also responsible for making sure the students in that program get exactly what they need, okay? We also have the trauma specialization, and it's Dr. Andrew Kami that is the coordinator of that specific program. And Dr. Trevor Dobbs is the coordinator for our traditional program. And then we have Cherie Bilecki, who is the coordinator of the community psych program. And so the coordinators are basically there to make sure that the program's going smoothly and the students have additional support. Mike, I see you laughing. Are you laughing? Oh, okay. Not me, not me. All righty. Okay.
I see Dr. Rodriguez going, there's one more.
Yes. Go on, go on. Where is she? Oh, my screen can't. Dr. Rodriguez.
Yes. Hi, Angel. Hello, everyone. I cannot match Dr. Hall's energy at 6:31, but I will do my best. I am also the coordinator for the LGBTQIA plus studies program at Pacific Oaks as well. That is our newest program. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there as well.
Absolutely. And we're getting that going too. Thank you so much.
And what did y'all mention?
Social work?
Yes.
We're coming. Yes,
Okay.
that's coming too.
Bye.
Too. Wait a minute. Do we have any social work folks?
Yeah,
because
Cassandra's on. Dr.
All
Cassandra's
right,
on.
Dr. Cassandra. Okay, so Cassandra, Dr. Peel, would you like to chime in?
I'm Dr. Peel. Good evening, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. Program director for the MSW program. I'm here to answer any questions as they come up. Very happy to be proud of the School of Cultural and Family Psychology.
Thank you, Dr. Peel. So as you see here, we have a bunch of folks that are in the School of Cultural and Family Psychology that are here to offer additional support to the students. And the support can look in many different ways. And so even if it's just that you need someone to talk to about a situation that happened in class, or maybe there's a theory that you may not quite understand, we're here to help. Okay. So what is the difference then with the virtual classes versus the online classes for the School of Cultural and Family Psychology? And what we do in, I'll just say CFP, is the modality is going to be different, but the student expectation is the same. We expect for students to show up and to be present and to be prepared to be a part of the discussion. We do understand that being at home or being virtually means that you may not be able to have the quiet that you would in the classroom. You may have your family members and whomever it is that's in your environment. You're at home, so we understand that things would be a little different in that way, but we do expect for you to show up to class virtually and be ready and prepared for the discussion, because a lot of what we do in the class is discussion based, right? So we want to hear about your life experiences. We want to hear about how you're feeling about the topics and the information that we're presenting. So that part is there. We review the course syllabus and see the course assignments that are due. We do make sure that the syllabi that you have for each class is updated and it has the most up-to-date information. As Michael mentioned, we use Canvas as our course management system. And so we've gotten rid of the paper over time, I would say. So a lot of the stuff is online here. And so we also make it available. We also make it very easy for students to contact their instructors. The instructors often have their email addresses available. They have office hours that are available. And many of the students have the cell phone numbers. Now, I'm not saying all, but you're able to reach your instructor if you need to. And usually there is a 24-hour turnover in the response. Okay. The attendance policy is that a question? Oh, okay, I'm sorry about that. I see I'm like an auctioneer. If I see any, I'm a teacher, right? So if I see any kind of anything, I'm like, hey, yes. All right, the attendance policy is in place. We want to make sure that you are getting what you signed up for. And so that is very clearly outlined, the attendance policy in the syllabus. So you know exactly what's expected. The seat time is important. That basically means the amount of time you must spend within each particular course. So that information is there for you. We just expect professional behavior, right? And we understand that it can be difficult if you are not in the classroom to get a quiet space, but we're here to help you with that too. Okay. Question.
Well, thank you, Dr. Hall. Are there any questions just right off the bat here for School of Cultural Family Psychology? Anything that's been presented so far? All right, not yet. So we're going to move into our School of Human Development. And that brings us to Dr. Terry Webster.
Thank you. One of the questions we've been asking in the School of Human Development and across Pacific Oaks since March has been what has changed and what has not. And so much of what has changed really has to do with the transition from our ground classroom environments to virtual. But I'm also amazed and just so proud of the fact that so much of our learning outcomes, how we support students, has not changed at all. So in HD, the virtual classroom works in that there is consistency in instruction. As Dr. Hall mentioned, we want our students to learn the same things that we wanted them to learn pre-COVID, and in much the same way. So the instructors, your syllabi, your books, everything has remained very consistent. Some of the things that have changed, and if you can imagine, you're a student, you're contemplating coming back to school and you're accustomed to being in a classroom environment. Think about faculty members who've spent decades of their careers teaching solely in classroom environments. So one thing that we have been able to do and continue to do is to support our instructors by providing them with tech buddies, whether those are colleagues or student workers, to help them really become engaged with the virtual learning environment. And I have to say that over the course of the past several months, we've become experts at that. Ground classes meet regularly. So if you have a class that's scheduled for 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, that's when that class is going to meet. We don't always meet for the entire 3-hour block because we also understand that you've worked all day, probably on Zoom, helped support children learning on Zoom. And so we understand that fatigue that could set in into the evening hours. So we balance the class meetings with alternate activities outside of class. So one example would be if we used to sit in a classroom together and view a piece of media, you might be asked to view that media piece over the course of the week, come to class to discuss it. So that's one of the ways that we can hold students to the right amount of time in the classroom setting, but not have you sit in one more lengthy Zoom meeting at the end of the day. Key to human development, as is the case with other disciplines at PO, is the need to do observational work. We do a lot of observations of workplaces, of children, and the like. So we have put together a very robust compendium of simulations that can be used. As when we have preschool teachers that kind of going back to work, sometimes they can do some observational work at their place of employment, but we right now in this environment can't have non-employees going into preschool environments to do that work, but we have great simulations available. Presentations, again, a key piece of the pedagogy in human development is that students learn and then they tell us what they've learned in the form of a presentation. So certainly the Zoom platform is very amenable for that. Our instructors keep virtual office hours, so they have their regular times during the course of the week that they're going to be available, but has also been mentioned, our faculty have been immensely responsive to the needs of the students. And so if you are not able to meet with an instructor during that scheduled office hour, our instructors are going above and beyond to make themselves available when you need them, either via Zoom or via telephone, so that you can talk to your instructor when it's a good time for you. One thing that we were concerned about when we first moved from the in-class environment to the virtual was our group work. Much of what we do in HD is students sharing their experiences, their thoughts with one another and learning from one another. So the Zoom platform provides for breakout rooms. So we're able to go into small groups, so split up a larger class into groups of 3 to 4 students, break out, have a discussion, then come back into the main room. So that's been really, really working well for us. Virtual fieldwork. Students who are coming into HD are expected at both the bachelor and the master's level to engage in a fieldwork opportunity. And so that was another thing that we were thinking, well, how, if we can't send students out into the field, how are we going to bring these field experiences into students? So virtual field work became part of our pedagogy and teaching effective summer. And we had 60 combined BA and MA HD students who needed fieldwork in the summer. So we worked with internal partners to provide virtual experiences. So for example, PO's Center for Community and Social Impact found opportunities and placed students in opportunities to develop. I had a group of students working on a guidebook for parents related to kindergarten preparedness. We had another group of students through CCSI identifying career pathways to present to high school students. And we've continued to develop relationships internally and also with community partners. So for example, students working with Head Start in the Bay Area, in Los Angeles, we have the Children's Space, Mending Kids, and Together Let's Rise. So at the end of the day, the fieldwork experiences are happening. Our students are getting placed, they're enjoying their work, they're expanding their skill sets. And I would also invite anyone who's going into HD, and I can work through Michael to get you the information. We're having our first fieldwork showcase we have, I think, 4 or maybe 5 students on the 23rd of November at 7 o'clock, where you'll get to actually experience and witness and discuss with students and with the field supervisors what virtual fieldwork has been looking like. So that's an important event that I'd like to invite you to. For thesis support, our thesis process and the master's program is highly supported as it is, but we have been working and building strong collaborative efforts with our Learning Center for Writing Assistance, our library for APA guidance and support. And I have just been amazed and so touched by our students who continue to enter into their thesis process, and also those who have been able to complete during this time. So as I mentioned, some things have changed, but not so dramatically that it's impacting the way our students are learning and how they're earning their degrees. So Michael, the next slide, please. So this is another example, Hollywood Squares at PO. This is Dr. Feider's HD 300 class that actually had to make the transition partway through the class. And so we always end our terms with some sort of a celebratory, in this case, it was a Raise Your Glass event to a successful transition and a successful end of the semester. And I think I did see a couple of questions come in, Michael. I don't know if you'd like to address them now or at the end.
I think it's perfect. Yeah, if you could, Dr. Webster, if you see, I think there was one regarding specifically fieldwork, and at what point in your degree program do you do your fieldwork?
So fieldwork is one of our, I would say that fieldwork is a little over halfway through. So it's an advanced class in both degree programs. So we have students take their theory classes, their diversity and communication classes, and a fair number of their concentration classes, because you need that exposure, that knowledge to then go into fieldwork. So I think it's typically either right before capstone, which is the very end, or maybe, a couple classes, but it's a later class in the programs.
So I would say.
And so can I step in real quick to answer that next one for everybody, if you don't mind? And that was, you want to see the information about fieldwork so you can prepare yourselves. But what I have for you is to let you know that there's faculty over the fieldwork process and or student teaching process in all the schools and all the degree programs. It is something that is integral to all of our programs, internship, practicum, field work, student teaching, whatever you call it. Every program at our school basically has that component. And so there's designated people in our programs for that, and we scaffold and prepare you for it. So you don't need to know at this point. We won't send you what that looks like, because we want you to get acclimated to school and being in school, and guarantee you will get fully prepared. There's some courses like in CFP and the MFT program, there's actually courses designed to prep you for the fieldwork process. In social work, they're building orientations, whole orientations where you will meet with the director of field education to learn about, over time, how do you prepare yourself? How do you get your resume written? All of those different things, how you apply. Student teaching the same way, designated people there to make sure that you are fully prepared and meet all of your requirements that you will need. And so if we give it to you now, all it's going to do is overwhelm you. You don't need to worry about it. I want you to just breathe, worry about starting your first semester with us, and trust us in knowing that you will get all the support that you need and all the information you need to be able to prepare yourselves for field work.
Thank you.
I would say, fingers crossed, no one in this group is going to have to do field work virtually. Fingers crossed, by the time you get to your field work, we'll all be back at campus and back to our lives. But in case we need to, you know that we have the ability to have you do your field work virtually now.
I might be very selective reading, but I have been reading a lot on the vaccine is coming out. So I'm focusing on that news, and hopefully life might be back to almost normal once again. So hope that will be the case.
I would like to close with a couple more points, and thank you, Dr. Cook. No, we don't want to overwhelm you, but we are, HD is intentionally starting to do a lot of recording of these sessions, making them available in Canvas shells so that students well ahead of time can start preparing and thinking about it and what it's going to look like. We don't just, put you in that semester and say, figure it out. We have the faculty and we have the supports to be able to help you structure that so that you can plan. And so to Abraham, to your question, you would want to have a conversation in advance, not semester one, but when you're getting maybe a couple of semesters out from field work, take the time to talk to our fieldwork advisement team. I've got a couple of faculty members that work with our students, and again, thinking about what that would look like for you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for all of that. Thank you for the questions, everybody. Please, again, keep those questions coming because we want you to walk away from this saying you got what you needed out of this presentation. So ask those questions. Thank you very much. All right, I mentioned earlier that we were very quick to be able to transition to the virtual environment. One of the reasons for that is because at Pacific Oaks College, even when we do go to class and we're at the campuses, we still use an online component in our classrooms. So even if you do come to class every week and you have your meetings and your times with your instructors, as a student at Pacific Oaks, you are using what you see up here. There are two different images next to each other there. We've got our community site, which is kind of like your home page as a student at Pacific Oaks College. And then we have Canvas. On the right-hand side, what you're looking there is Canvas. That's your dashboard. And each of those little tiles there would represent one of your classes that you're in. So whether you're at the campus or you're in your virtual environment, you will use this community site as your homepage, and you will use Canvas to turn in your homework assignments, read announcements, look at your grades, your class expectations, send messages back and forth with your instructors sometimes. So that made us being able to switch to the virtual environment very easy, because rather than figuring out how do we get this information to our students and how do they turn in their work if they can't come to the campus, that was already done because we already used these platforms with our students. We really just needed to figure out what works best for the virtual side. And we figured out Zoom works really well for us here. But that was the biggest transition for us, was just figuring out date and time for each class to be on Zoom and just pick up where you left off. So this is a big advantage for us. What it also means is that when we do go back to campus, the transition will also still be very smooth for you because you will still be using Canvas. You'll still have your community site. The only difference really is going to be when you're sitting in class versus being at your house. But this helps a great deal for us to be able to work with our students in any environment, whether you're 100% online or you're virtual or you're at our campus. And we will familiarize you with this. I don't expect you to get to know and feel like, okay, I can use Canvas now just because it's the first time you've ever seen it. But this is just another screenshot for you to give an example. When you're in Canvas, this is kind of what it would look like. When you have an assignment, you get to read what your assignment is, you do whatever the work is that's being asked of you, and then you can see that blue button kind of on the top right-hand side, submit assignment. And it's a little bit like attaching something to an email. So we'll teach you how to use Canvas, but this is just a little introduction to you to be able to see how you can still use the technology that we always have had in our classrooms and use this in the virtual environment as well. So we know that a lot takes place in your college life in the classroom, but we also know that a lot takes place outside of the classroom, and you need help and support outside of the classroom. So our very own Mary Berberian is here to talk with you a little bit about how we can support you outside of class. So we're going to turn it over to Mary.
Hi, everyone. Again, thanks for being here. So our role in academic advising throughout your journey will be to be your leg man, if you will, or your wing man. So once you're done with the admissions process, we register you for classes, the rest of the time, your relationship is really going to be interactive with us. We will have the longest relationship with all students on campus. Our role is to primarily ensure that you stay on track. We will register you for courses. We will guide you as to what courses you need to be in so that you adhere to the academic requirements needed to get you to the finish line. Our job throughout the entire time is to make ourselves available. If you need to speak to us, if you're having some challenges, if you feel as though there's an issue that you need to address, we are here to be a sounding board. We will listen, we will guide, we will support, provide you access to avenues of support. We may not have all the answers, but we can get them for you. So we don't house materials, but for example, let's say you're having a challenge in a classroom, we're going to encourage you to reach out to your professors. That's the first thing we really want to make you really be aware of. The beauty of attending Pacific Oaks College and being in the smaller classroom arena is that all of our professors, adjunct, core, all staff members, all faculty members, we're accessible to you all the time. I mean, that is one of the best quality. I would say as a student, I'm a former student, I'm a two-time alumni of Pacific Oaks College. The best part of being here was the sense of community that I felt and the support system that I felt. So I understand from a student's perspective what it is that you will need. So please utilize us, come to us when you have questions. One of the most important parts of your transitional phase, especially if you're an undergrad student, is coming from a different institution and coming into Pacific Oaks College. If you're a transitioning student or transferring student rather, is that we do things slightly differently here. We're very hands-on, we're very supportive. We're here to really make sure that we're guiding you, but we don't want to take away anything from you. We want to empower you to be an advocate, to be a person that can speak their own voice, to be agents of change. Our objective is for you to leave our institution. We don't want to keep you here. In order for you to leave our institution as a successful alumni, as a successful student who has graduated from a program, we need you to communicate with us. That is one of the most essential components of the relationships that we will have together. We are not mind readers. We don't have crystal balls. Although maybe my kids think that I'm a mind reader because I always know what they're doing. But for my students, I'm not a mind reader. So please stay in touch with us. We understand that sometimes life gets in the way of life. You'll have challenges along the way. You will have issues along the way. Your car is going to break down. Your phone's going to crash. Your system. Those are all reasons why we are here. You're not alone. You'll never be alone while you're a student at Pacific Oaks. And even after you're a student at Pacific Oaks, you're still not alone. You're an alumni of a very unique group of people. So please make sure that you reach out to us. We will make sure that your graduation checklist is done, that you're registered in the appropriate classes. We will help you with any forms, give you direction as to how to fill out forms. For example, let's say you are a student who all of a sudden has got the opportunity to go on this fantastic family vacation once COVID is over. Just don't disappear. When you do, if you just leave the institution, you will be withdrawn. There's a process where we can put your educational status on pause so that that's reported accordingly to the federal government. Your student loans don't kick in that way. We want to really make sure that you're always taken care of. So please make sure that you communicate with us. We will do everything within our power to ensure your academic success and personal success, because it's more than just academics. Your academic success ensures that you're personally successful and when you go out into the workforce. Like I said, I have a team of people that I work with, which are phenomenal. Their faces and their contact information is on your screen. They are appropriately assigned to the respective schools that they represent. Please feel free to reach out to them if you have questions that we can support you with. After this meeting's over, you're going to have 100 questions come through your head. Please feel free to reach out to us. That's what our responsibility is, to provide you the best informative answers that we can so that we can ensure your academic success. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me as well. Even if I'm not the school rep for your assigned school, but you really feel as though there's a question that I can answer for you, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. I will be more than happy to support you along the way.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much. And just in case, if I know it's kind of hard to read, like she mentioned that contact information there, that's just an image there for you now, just to be able to show you. We wanted to show you their faces. These are the individuals you'll be working with. For the time being, before school starts, you'll be working with your enrollment counselor as you get prepared to transition into being a student with us. And then those individuals that you see there in those little tiny pictures, they will be your academic advisors once you start with us. And then for sure, you'll get their contact information. You'll be able to reach out to them. But in this interim time right now, just continue working with your enrollment counselor. And if you don't have their phone number, you know they've got yours. They're probably calling you and sending you emails and trying to remind you to get everything turned in. We just want to make sure that you've got everything lined up to be successful with us. So the next piece for us, we've talked about it a little bit, and that is what happens when we finally get the green light to go back to our lives. Right now, we're hoping that happens so that we're all, by the summertime, we're all back in class again. But the really nice part, something that Mary actually just said, is that you become a part of us. You become a part of PO. We have this little thing right there called the power of community. You become a part of PO and you get to know each other and get to know your community. What's really unique about what we have here at Pacific Oaks College, as you've seen for some of these images, is getting to start your classes in a virtual environment. If we get to transition back to campus starting in May, it's not going to feel very different for you. That's the exciting piece, is that you already know your instructors and your professors. You already know your academic advisor. You already know what all your classmates look like because you've already been meeting with them on a regular basis. You've been seeing them on screens and interacting in a live environment. I actually think your first day of class is probably a lot easier in this environment because you're in a place where you're comfortable. You're in your kind of safe zone in a way right now. It's nerve-wracking enough to go to class for the first time. So do it virtually now. Get used to things, get to know each other, get to know your classmates. Then when that big day and everybody gets anxious about coming to class for the first time, it won't be scary for you then. You'll already know your classmates. The only difference is instead of seeing them on a little screen, you'll actually get to walk in and go, oh, that's how tall you are. I couldn't tell on the camera. But it's a nice way to be already comfortable with everybody because you will have already been working with these individuals for a couple of months by the time you actually get into class. So the transition back will be very easy. You'll already have Canvas. You'll already be doing those assignments. The only difference is instead of sitting in your chair you're sitting in right now, you'll be sitting in one of our chairs at one of the classrooms. But it should be a very simple way to do it for you because of the way that we've got you set up to be supported in this virtual environment now. And that's a really big, important piece for us because we know that being a student can be scary. It can be full of anxiety, and you've got a lot of work to do. Homework is not easy. Balancing that with your kids and with your life and with your jobs and everything is not simple. So we want to try to take as much of that extra worry out of it and just make it an easy, smooth transition so that you can just focus on just being you and being a student and being the best student you can be. So we are going to open this up. A lot of you have already had a lot of really great questions, but I'm going to unshare the screen now so that we can see each other maybe in just a little bit of a bigger environment here. And still open that up for anybody who has additional questions. I've seen a lot of good questions and comments already in the chat box, but feel free. Any questions that have come up so far about the classroom environment, what we're doing to support you, or anything else that you would like to know as a prospective student here.
I have no questions, but I just want to say thank you for taking this opportunity to do this presentation. It actually helped us a lot, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thanks mostly to the faculty and to Mary and everybody for taking the time out of their evenings to be here. So thank you to them.
Do we have any undergrads in our presentation today participating? If you're an undergrad, you'll see me a lot. I'll attend one of your classes when you onboard in your Gen 100 class, which is one of the first classes that you'll take. It's a PO success class. And in that course, you will learn a lot from us. In that part of that course requirement requires you to meet with us. So I would suggest that once you see your registration come through, let's schedule a meeting with your academic advisor so that you're really well prepared for what's coming up in the future. I'm all about being prepared. The more you know, I always tell my kids, if you're ready, you never have to get ready, right? So if we can get in touch with you, and if you get in touch with us, let's set it up where we empower you so that you'll be really successful. That's the one thing I do want to emphasize is at Pacific Oaks, because we're so small, we're always going to be available somehow, some way. It may not be immediately, but we will always make sure to make time for our students. So please always communicate with us, always communicate with your professors. Your professors are there strategically. They know their curriculum the best. Don't, because you're not grasping a concept, don't give up. Reach out to them. It could very well be that your professor instructed it in such a way that you didn't receive it in accordance to how they wanted it. I just want to encourage you guys, establish those relationships, especially if you're an undergrad, because that's something that's going to be instrumental as you pursue higher education and go into grad school. Communicating with your instructors is going to be such a vital part of your academic success. And everyone at Pacific Oaks, just like your panel here, is just as friendly, just as approachable. Well, you know, everyone to us is equal. That's why we all work here. We love what we do. This is our purpose. We want to see all students that walk through our doors just as successful as we are, just as empowered as we are, just as educated as we are. Our goal is to make you even better than we are. So please, please, please utilize all the services, whether it's the care office, whether it's the writing center. There are people in that writing center that are so well versed at their jobs. They can assist you with all of your assignments. Dr. Judy Castro's department's going to have a fantastic opportunity with math tutors and all other features that she's uniquely bringing to our school as she embarks on it. Each one of these core faculty members are here. They're specialized, uniquely characterized individuals within their field of study. Use their knowledge. That's the smartest thing I can tell you, is utilize your instructors to their maximum, because of the fact that they are experts in their arenas. You can't learn any more than that. I mean, they're the best of the best, and we love them, and I'm so grateful to work with them, and that you'll see as you embark with them that they are truly dedicated to you as a student and your success.
I'm an undergraduate, and I'm going to be in the online community psychology program. And I just want to say that I've had a few connections with PO here, and I'm just so inspired. It's just such an inspiration. And I'm so gonna use the support, especially when I still have statistics to take and you know, that kind of thing. So I just want to say, you know, I'm just so glad, and I'm just so glad to be, I mean, I first got in touch with Pacific Oaks back in the 80s. And so I'm just so glad to be back and to see how you guys have grown. It's just so amazing to see that, you know, I was in the human development way back when, and that was the only thing that was available. And now we just have so much. And I see that Professor Balecki, my financial provider, he is here. Hello, Professor. So I'm really excited to get going and to join a new community and to be a student again. I mean, I've gone from being in leadership and now I get to be a student again. So that's going to be, I think it's going to be pleasurable.
Yay. Well, welcome back, Kim. We're so excited to have you, and your enthusiasm is infectious.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're lifelong learners. That's the beauty of it, right? So,
totally. Yeah.
So as much as you learn from us, we're going to learn from you.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I have taken knowing that from when I first took my first class at Pacific Oaks, and I have put that into my life. And so now I'm back again.
Welcome back.
It's so great to be with everybody. So getting to know everybody. So thank you.
Okay.
All right.
I'd like to say one thing. I don't know if we have, do we have time?
Yeah, we have time. Dr. Hall, it's a little hard to hear you if you can just speak up just a tiny bit.
I'll turn it up. Don't ask me to turn up now. I'll turn it up. So listen, what I wanted to say was this, you know, you see us all here, the proof's in the pudding here. We're all here for you. What may happen, and I'm speaking from experience, right? What may happen is you'll get off of this and you may think, is this for me? Am I doing the right thing? Is this for me? Is this the time? If this is not proof that the time is now, I don't know what is. You may have put it off for a long time, but here it is, right back at you again. It reminds me of the Langston Hughes poem, What Happens to a Dream Deferred? You guys know the poem, right? It lingers. You know what I mean? So if, for whatever reason, you may be thinking, I see in the chat like you guys are on board. I see in the chat, I'm hoping, right? But just know that if that feeling does come, you can reach out to anybody that's on this screen right here. Because we've been through it. We've been through the process of improving our life through education. We know what it's like. We know where the bumps in the road are. You see, we may not know exactly, it may not look exactly like yours, but we have navigated those waters and we can help you understand. We can help show you how to do it because we've done it. You see? So just know that if that feeling does come, just know that you can reach out to anybody here and we'll be able to help you get over that. Because see, listen, you have to do it. The work that you were created to do, you have to do it. There's no two ways about it. There's no one else on the planet that can do what you were created to do, right? So you got to come on. It's a person out there that's waiting for you to get this degree to help them. So there's no way that you can put this off anymore now. You see how that works. So you got to do it, right? Don't let me tear up on here. Okay, go on now.
Oh, Dr. Hall, I love you for saying that.
I love it. Thank you. I cannot think of a better way for us to kind of just wrap up this evening and just to have that little inspirational moment. So thank you for that.
I think that's the best ending I ever had. I think Dr. Hall, you're so inspiring. And I know that many of us who has been in school forever, every time when we start school, we have that question, and that's why she said that to you. But guess what? Those who start are the ones that could finish. And truly, Kim, as you said, that we are inspiring you, but you are inspiring us. I think we're doing what we do just because people like you coming back to school and having that intention. And we don't want to have that intention to go unfinished. So we're here to help. So
yeah, it's got to be the 5th time I've attempted to matriculate in my life.
the
I've
5th
lived a
time and
very-
the last time, Kim.
Yeah, well, and the thing is that even, you know, it's just, my life is sweet. I mean, it's just, it's full, and I help people. But when I saw that Pacific Oaks was online, and that's what I need, and it was just like, oh, let's go for it. And it feels like I'm coming home. So, you know, it's just, God, just to see everybody and to see the diversity and how it's shifted since the 80s is just so amazing, and it's really sweet.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for all of the inspiring words. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for your questions and your comments, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your evenings to be able to meet together and talk about upcoming being students with us here at Pacific Oaks College. We want to make sure that everybody does have a good chance to go have and enjoy the rest of your evening. So we're gonna wrap this up for this evening. But again, thank you, everyone. And I think if there's one really big message to take away from this is that if you still got questions, reach out to us. You know that we are here to answer those questions. You know that we are here to work with you because we know it's a big decision, and we want to make sure that you feel ready and that you feel this is right for you. So thank you, everyone, for taking your time, from faculty to staff to deans to our college president, to all of you thinking about being students or coming back to be a student again with us. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.